Hello, Charlotte. Thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're, often in the plantation sites of cacao and cacao production and then gallivanting in the jungle. So just thank you so much for this moment right now.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure always to come here and share about my passion, share about my love for the land, for cacao, and for the people. So thank you so much.
Well, first things first, you are a fellow Montrealer, right? I don't know if you were residing in Montreal or Quebec, but give me a rundown as to where you came from and where you're living right now.
Yeah, I was born near Ottawa on the other
Mm.
side, Quebec, French Canadian, and grew up there, always having this pulse towards traveling, towards knowing the world. And so I started my journey pretty young. 15 years old, I left home, went to Nicaragua, and that's like my whole journey in different indigenous tribes and communities. I've started there, and now I'm here in Guatemala, living at Lake Atitlan and yeah, traveling from jungles to lakes to volcanoes.
Oh my goodness. I just love following all of your missions, the different photos and videos you're posting and just it looks wonderful. Like truly beautiful, breathtaking, inspirational. And that's why I wanted to have this chat because I discovered you when I have like actually for quite a few years. I'd say about 2 years now I've been immersed in cacao ceremonies and breathwork. And it's really enhanced my life tremendously. And then I was doing more research on YouTube to see, who are the experts and am I the only one that is like who else is talking about cacao and the how impactful it is. So then I stumbled on an interview featuring you and then I was just like and then I could pick up a little bit of the French accent. And I was like, who is Charlotte? Is she a fellow Montrealer? Could it very well be? And sure enough it is. And then you're living this life that seems very aligned and authentic and purposeful and so different than most individuals here in North America and around the world. So that's why I wanted to hear it from you. I wanted to hear like what was that aha moment, that message within you? Like what was that moment where you realized cacao was essentially your ally? And when did you decide to just pack up and move?
Mm. Yes, thank you so much. I would say
Lots of
the
questions, right?
yeah, what a
Probably too many.
question. But
Let's
if
start
I
with
can
one.
start somewhere, cacao, it's been like 5 years I walk with the medicine. I discovered it during my first travel to Guatemala. And
Hmm.
so I knew a bit about it. I heard about the ceremonial purposes, but I'm someone who likes to go in depth and to understand from the roots where things come from. And so I had this curiosity without being so like thrilled about it. And then when I
Hmm.
went to, well, Guatemala and I sat in a ceremony with an elder, Akik, guardian of the fire, guardian of the timekeeping of the Maya people, and he was serving cacao in the ceremony, invoking the different spirits of the day. And in that moment, when I connected with the medicine, it was this first moment that I felt the heart opening of the cacao and a deep calling to pursue that path with the Maya people. And so that
Hmm.
was like, wow, what is this medicine? It piqued my curiosity. Not only the medicine, but the holder of the medicine, the cosmovision around it. I was really interested. And so I started to study with Nana Isabel in Tata Isaias to Tutuhil, keeper of the medicine and also of the cosmovision. I had a
Hmm.
special connection with Nana Isabel. First time I saw her, it was the first moment I really felt unconditional love from someone. And so I really wanted to go deep and like, wow, what is that? What is that loving essence that I feel from that person that is drinking cacao every day? And so it just started this way and unfolded into a deep mission and purpose for my life. Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, I can't help but wonder, but does this individual also drink coffee in the morning and then cacao, or is cacao their go-to first thing? I just have to ask.
Yeah, no coffee. Actually, they stopped drinking coffee as they yeah, started to be more connected to the medicine, as the medicine
Mhm.
is so uplifting and there's way more benefits of drinking cacao than coffee. And so of course,
Mhm.
it's still part of their culture. Coffee is growing here, so of course you can drink coffee here and there, but I think well, from what they said to me, like, they stopped. They really have stopped drinking coffee on a daily
Yeah.
basis. Yeah.
Oh, because there's caffeine in cacao.
There is, but like way less. It's like a quarter of what you can have in
Mm.
cacao. The main component of cacao is theobromine. So this also is like a chemical that brings more energy, uplifting your energy and secrete serotonin without having
Mm.
like this
Mhm.
nervous
Yes.
activation that coffee has. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can see that. I can speak from experience how wonderful it is. But I'm also a coffee aficionado and really enjoy my morning brew. But that said, you also have a certification in chocolate, right? Some type
Hmm.
of educational background. Can you tell us about that and then how it
Yeah.
transitioned to ceremonial cacao? Because that's an interesting path.
So this is really interesting because I want to say when I was a young, like really young, I didn't like chocolate at all. So I couldn't even eat it, and which is very strange because all kids want sweets, and I was not like, I didn't like the sweetness of it. And so chocolate, I got my certified chocolatier. Yeah, I did certify myself in chocolate. It was about 3 years ago. So it was, I discovered the medicine of ch cacao, and I had already this conversation with her and this relationship before I even entered into the realm of chocolate. I
Mm,
decided to go into that space because I wanted to go deeper into the medicine and understanding the whole, industry, where it comes from. Because there was a moment, in that moment, I lived in Africa, and I was working in the protection of a sacred sites there. And yeah, really involved in the community and knowing how cacao or chocolate production in West Africa was affecting the land and exploiting a lot. There was like something for me. I wanted to go deeper and just understanding this world. So I went through that
mhm.
route. And it was beautiful. I mean, I've learned a lot about like the confectionery art of chocolate. And I think it's a beautiful legacy of this connection between European roots and
Mhm.
Mesoamerican roots that met, and how that has like, evolved into like chocolatiers and this art, this art form. And so,
Yeah.
mhm.
Where did chocolate lose its way? Because I was walking at one point, this was last year at some point, Clementine, my daughter, and I, we were just walking around the neighborhood. And every now and then there's a house that has a little tree library. And it's so cute and so inspirational to do that for the community because other kids can just take a book and then replace a book. And it just, encourages reading and sharing. And we grabbed a book that was all about the origins of chocolate. And I saw where it started to some degree. And if I remember correctly, it was like, especially during the Egyptian time, where these individuals were really producing chocolate and saw it as something that was like sacred. And then it just transitioned. There was a timeline. And then now it's everywhere. And it's obviously infused with tons of unhealthy processed sugars. So how did chocolate lose its way? And where is it? And is it making a comeback? Is the sacred chocolate and sacred cacao making its comeback now?
Mm. Yeah, thank you for this question. That's something that I've been meditating for years, and it's part of my work also, like to bring back the sacredness. I think that the moment that we stopped seeing nature as a living being and the moment that we stop treating life as sacred, I think this is the
Mm,
moment that we had a rupture in our humanity, in the way
yeah.
we are exploiting and extracting. And so for me, with what I've seen, what is keeping the sacredness of all these plants, of all these spirits, because we call cacao a plant spirit in its indigenous roots. We honor
Mhm.
the animacy, we honor the cacao as a spirit, as a living being, as us we are, no? And so the moment we stop treating nature as animate, and we started to introduce this inanimate worldview where we can just exploit the earth as we want for the pursuit of consumerism culture. I think this is the big rupture. And for me, my path to recover that is not only through ceremonial cacao, but it's through honoring the biocultural heritage of cacao. So where is that growing? Who are the
Mhm.
guardians of cacao? What culture has been woven into the cacao? No, because the
Mhm.
moment that if you see on, and even like right now, most of the exploitation of cacao is in West Africa, whereas cacao
Yeah.
is indigenous to the land of Mesoamerica and South America. And so why that like this disconnection from the roots, the indigenous roots, has been like justifying the exploitation of the plant, no? And so I think
Mhm.
like to recover the sacredness of life and to recover ceremonial cacao, it needs to come from the people that have been safeguarding its heritage for thousands of years.
Mhm. Yeah, and those plantation sites are decreasing around the
Hmm.
world.
It
And
is.
it's
Mhm.
concerning. Yeah.
It is, yeah, and yeah, especially with the practices, like not only they take the seeds and they exploited it, they've also like grew into agrochemical industry that is also like full of heavy metals and
Mhm.
depleting the soil. Like in West Africa, one of the main cause of deforestation is cacao plantation, and right now we're
Mhm.
like on another a journey where they want to do like chocolate, so we're like been in another level of like
Yeah.
disconnection to nature
Mhm.
and the origins. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that is so concerning. Speaking of origins, I know you have a chocolate brand that you are working with, and obviously we're going to go into that further. But after experiencing cacao ceremonies, I had no idea what that even meant, but I was very open, and something within me just led me there, right? There was an opportunity to experience it. And of course, I'm all about saying yes. So I went ahead and said yes. And it was just so unique because, of course, it always starts with intention setting, and you're in a room where it's a community, right? There, other individuals are either, struggling with like creative blocks or relationship hurdles or family, drama. It's just, or some people are just there to experience something new, right? But it was so interesting to see that when you set an intention and you drink with respect and chocolate, like the cacao as a sacred beverage, it changes the dynamic completely. And then you pair that with breath work. I could not believe the amount of, I call it downloads, but just like aha moments, and just the fluidity in thoughts, and just I feel like I reconnected with my higher self, and I just had so much clarity and so much love. And so many individuals in the room were also crying because they felt like they were that reconnected with this divine, beautiful, I don't know, it's like reconnection to nature, right? So what has been your experience with it in either like drinking cacao, in individually and within a ceremony? And what have you witnessed along the way?
Hmm. I call Cacao the great alchemist. She's alchemizing all of our heart, the vortex of our heart, to reaffirm the essential nature that we are.
Yeah.
She's connecting us back to the earth in a way. And I can talk about the science behind it, like the biochemistry of cacao and how it works. It's such a complex biochemistry, one of the most complete plant where you can like there's so many benefits. It's like 600 antioxidants. It's re-oxygenating our brain, so it brings back
Hmm.
this coherence between mind and heart. And that's why I feel like
Hmm.
there's a lot of people experiencing those moment of emotional bursts of emotional release because
Yeah.
of that transformative nature that she brings in us into. She's unlayering all the layers and the boundaries that we've put around our heart so we
Hmm.
can reconnect with this essential nature. And for me, like cacao, I can talk about her as much as I can talk about her in the scientific way. There's
Hmm.
a lot of like spiritual components of cacao. Um, where she secretes like there's MAO inhibitors in cacao. And funny because if you don't know about MAOs, like it's the inhibitors of like the DMT in our brain. So it secretes
Oh.
that connection to spirit, connection to our higher self, like you say, you know, like it's this like spiritual uplifting of our pineal gland. You know, the pineal gland can
Mhm.
secrete that DMT and the spiritual molecule that we call.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot about Cacao and how she transformed us on a deep, deep level of our being, and walking with her for many years in relationship to our land, relationship to the people, and with a daily relationship that I cultivate with her as an anchor. For me, it's like a ritual anchor. She not only
Mhm.
transformed my connection to myself, but also my connection to the living world and all other plants. So she really like helped me understand, um like, you know, like we drink cacao in a ceremonial way, but why don't we treat our life as a ceremony itself, you know?
Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
is it this only moment? And like it
Yeah.
really reawakened myself to like, wow, like life is really magical, and all plants, all everything that we touch is it's sacred, and we can cultivate this intentionality as we eat, as we walk, as we talk, as we breathe, no? And
Mhm.
just wanting to add about the breath work, as you were sharing this like
Yeah.
combination with cacao and breath work. Well, Dr. Corey really spoke about this. There is also this molecule in cacao that is secreted through breath work, which is anandamide. Anandamide is the word ananda comes from the Sanskrit word bliss, bliss molecule.
Mhm.
And in the Indian cosmovision, bliss is the highest desire of our soul. So we are here to experience bliss. And so that's why
Mhm.
we feel that reconnection to the essential nature of ourself,
Yeah.
because the breath is re-oxygenating our blood as cacao is pulsating our heart 40% more than usually. So it's
Oh,
really
yes.
like uplifting all of this, like anandamide, this bliss, this connection to the living world, to our body, to our animacy.
It, as you talk, I am just so impressed and so grateful that I met you because the amount of knowledge you have is impressive. And, you know, you took some big leaps in your life to protect cacao and to really promote it as being sacred and reinstill nature within individuals, right? But how did you leave like that corporate world where, you know, it's about consumerism and materialism and wanting like fancy cars and, you know, that paycheck and potentially becoming an executive at one point? Like, how did you let that go, and how do you feel today following this purpose?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that was for me a journey of integrity of my heart and my authenticity. Like, you know what, I feel true to me. I worked before, I worked in the mine industry for some times, and it was really not in alignment to, yeah, my purpose of life. And well, it was pretty crazy story for me. Like, I was in South Africa working in a preservation of a sacred sites, and witnessing the mine impact on life
Mhm.
and how it's like exploiting a lot. And so there was like this very deep moment for me
Mhm.
to recognize that I can't continue being a complicit of something that I
Mhm.
don't believe, or something that I don't want to create. And for me,
Mhm.
really like the guidance of elders, the guidance of indigenous people that have been safeguarding um, our nature, you know, like 80% of all the biodiversity that we see today is preserved by
Mhm.
indigenous nations. And my chance to witness and be part of those communities have really made me understand that there's a bigger purpose of our yeah, of our presence on earth, you know, and how can I be
Mhm.
of service, and knowing that being of service to life is serving myself and my greatest integrity and greatest purpose. And so
Mhm.
that's the AI, there's not like AI moment. It was mostly like
Yeah.
a unfolding of a becoming of
Uh-huh.
who I am, helped by
Yeah.
cacao, because cacao has been my greatest teacher in that path of recovering myself and my authenticity and my connection to earth, and dissolving this wounded person that I am, you know, as we all
Mhm.
have wounds. And I always say that the first wound, the root of all wounds is our separation, and the
Mhm.
thought of the, or like the thinking that we are separated from nature, or the thinking that we
Mhm.
are isolated being, um,
Yeah.
and understanding that there's no I am, because we are all. No, we are in this web, and we have a role. And so to
Yeah.
reweave myself into cultivating an animistic worldview in my life, to wake up and knowing that
Mhm.
my environment is the reflection of who I am, and like reconnection to nature. Um, so there's no more uh duality that is just separating me from life, and understanding this eternal essence that is woven
Mhm.
into all things. Yeah.
Mhm. That's so special. I love that you described it as an unfolding. There was no just like one aha moment. It was several things that happened over a period of time. I can relate to that tremendously. And like I said, I feel like I've witnessed so many individuals grow and open and flourish as a result of consuming sacred cacao, high quality grade cacao, and doing the breath work and treating life as a ceremony. It sounds so, when I have this conversation truly with individuals who are in my network, they look at me and they're just like, you're crazy. Like literally, that's what they say to me. But I know that, like, and I'm going to say this, but like nature or Mother Earth, whatever you want to refer to it as, she's such a powerful force and she's doing the work. Like people are waking up and they're realizing just how disconnected they are from nature and how important it is to reconnect, to feel fulfilled, to feel happy, to feel purposeful, to feel all the things they deserve to feel, and also to heal childhood trauma or even ancestral trauma that they were just born with. Like I know some individuals that just carry trauma, right? It's just there. They haven't had trauma, significant trauma in this lifetime, but they feel like they need help, right? And so for individuals that don't, because a lot of individuals are like, well, I don't need to do this. I don't I don't need to heal. Nothing's wrong with me, right? How would you describe cacao and the benefits to someone like that who's a little bit closed-minded and is just shielding themselves from this because they don't want to admit or even come to terms with how beneficial this could be if they were open to it?
Hmm. For me, and that's one of my teachers say, Mingdai Basida, I can name him. We might not have been the one that domesticated cacao. It might be cacao that domesticated us. So I think it's not about like trying to convince anybody to follow this path, because cacao
Hmm.
will call you whenever you're ready,
Yeah,
like,
when
and
you're
I feel
ready. Oh
like
my gosh, you just gave me shivers. So true.
so
Yeah.
to trust the calling, to
Hmm.
trust your heart, and to trust where life is leading you without seeking. Because I feel like there's also like a spiritual consumerism of like, cacao or any
Yes.
medicine. It's like, oh, we're looking, but like, can we really slow down enough and listen to
Hmm.
what is actually calling our heart in this lifetime,
Hmm.
without trying to seek that healing, and this being in this perpetual healing journey that we need to be fixed. And so I
Yeah,
say to people,
exactly.
just trust the calling. And if maybe they find out this podcast and they listen to, maybe that's their calling, And so just
Hmm.
to trust where life is guiding you. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So if you're listening to this, this is your calling. Well, we just so that everyone knows, whoever is listening right now, yes, this is your calling. And also, Charlotte and I discussed that we want to do like a part two. So again, me as a professional marketer and individual who has worked in branding for so long, I always look at things from, how do we create content, but then make it really relatable and impactful? So we discussed doing this as an intro to Cacao. And then if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get this clip, of course, and any follow-up clips that we're going to be recording to do a deeper dive. It could be the science, it could be maybe even a breathwork session that we do here. We just want to, it's an unfolding, as Charlotte alluded to earlier, right? So stay tuned. Charlotte, I'm so happy that we did this. You also have a chocolate brand. So if you want to talk a little bit about that and how individuals could purchase or just keep tabs on all of your adventures.
Yes, of course. So I have my brand, Heart to Earth, and we focus on ancestral cacao and biocultural heritage preservation. Also, we offer retreats and different courses to go deeper into the medicine, to especially in the relationship to cacao. And so, yeah, you
Mhm.
can just follow us on Instagram or see our website. We have many offerings related to ancestral healing. Also, like just coming up in September, I'm inviting an elder
Mhm.
from Guatemala for a week journey into the womb, into the art of conception through the lens of Maya cosmovision and through different medicinal plants like cacao. And so, yeah, there's many offerings in that sense that reconnects us to the earth, our heart back to the
Yeah.
earth. So that's the intention. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we're going to reconnect soon.